Hi everyone, welcome to my channel Learn to Grow, Not to Know. So in this video we are going to learn about the digestive system, how it works, and we'll see what happens to the food that we eat, right? How they get absorbed in our body. See, food particles are too big to be directly absorbed into the tiny cells, right? So they get absorbed. So first they need to be broken down into tiny simple pieces which can dissolve in water, right? So let's see what is digestion. So digestion is the process by which food is broken down into the simpler form, into the tiny and simple pieces, so that it can be absorbed easily by the body. So it is called as digestion. So it is the process by which food gets broken down into the simpler form, okay? Or it is called as breaking down the food inside the body is known as digestion. Let's see what is digestive system. See, this is the system. It is the organ system by which helps in the digestion of food in our body. It is the organ system which helps in the digestion of food in our body. So when you eat food, it goes through your digestive system. So this is a group of body parts that work together to digest the food, okay? So that is the digestive system, which is the organ system which helps your food to get absorbed, to get digested in your body. So first of all, we'll see how many organs are associated with the digestive system. So main organs of the digestive system are the mouth, food pipe, that is esophagus, third stomach, then small intestine, liver, gallbladder, pancreas, large intestine, rectum and anus. So these 10 main organs are associated with the digestive system. See, the stomach is the main organ of the digestive system. So digestion begins inside the mouth. You first use your teeth to chew food and break it down into small pieces. So food will break down into the small parts. Now the food is mixed with saliva here. As it will break down into small pieces, it will mix with the saliva and made into a paste before swallowing it. Now the food is converted into a small soft ball. It is known as bolus. Okay, so the function of tongue is to mix the food with the saliva and to push the bolus into the food pipe, that is esophagus. Now in the mouth, the major part of carbohydrates, the digestion of starches of the food begins. Okay, so the major part of carbohydrates are broken down by saliva in the mouth. So the function of saliva is to break down the carbohydrates into simpler form or more digestible form into the mouth. This is the function of saliva. Now the bolus will pass through the esophagus, that is food pipe. Now the food pipe is the long tube-like flexible structure. It is a tube-like structure and it is flexible. Okay. Now the bolus is swallowed. It reaches the stomach through the food pipe. So the function of esophagus is to pass the bolus from mouth to stomach. So this is the function of esophagus. This is the second organ of digestive system. The next organ is stomach. Food stays there up to 3 hours. During this time the food is digested more. Okay, so the stomach is a muscular bag. It's a bag-like structure and it contains digestive juices. It makes digestive juices. These digestive juices are called as gastric juice. And this gastric juice breaks down the food breaks down the most part of the proteins into the simpler form, so that it can be digested easily by churning it. Okay, so the food will come into the stomach through the esophagus and will mix it with the digestive juice or gastric juice and breaks down the proteins into the more simpler and digestible form here into the stomach. Now this food will enter into the small intestine and the digestive juice secreted by the pancreas, that is also called as pancreatic juice, entered the small intestine and it is mixed with the food. Okay, so it helps in the breaking down the remaining carbohydrates and protein into simpler form. So pancreatic juice helps in the breaking down the remaining carbohydrates and protein into simpler form. Now in the small intestine, the juice secreted by the liver, it is also called as bile juice. Okay, it is stored in the gallbladder. The gallbladder then pours the digestive juice into the small intestine where it mixes with the food. So three things will come into the small intestine: the food from the stomach, pancreatic juice, and the bile juice from the gallbladder. Now the pancreatic juice helps to break down the remaining carbohydrates and protein into the simpler form, whereas bile juice help to break down the fats and oils into simpler and digestible forms. Now these all simpler forms of the nutrients like proteins, carbohydrates and fats are absorbed by the walls of the small intestine. Okay, and vitamins and minerals are soluble in water or fat, so therefore they are directly absorbed by the walls of the small intestine. Now the useful parts and nutrients in the digested food are absorbed from the intestine into the blood. Okay, now all nutrients which are absorbed through the walls of intestine will enter into the blood, and the blood carries these useful nutrients to different parts of the body. Now this is how it works. This is liver, secretes the bile juice, stored into the gallbladder, that is gallbladder. This is pancreas. Release pancreatic juice, also called as digestive juice. And now the last organ, that is large intestine. The undigested food now enters the large intestine. Okay, in the large intestine, the excess of water from the undigested food is absorbed. The wall of large intestine will absorb the excess of water, and the rectum, the last part of the large intestine, is called as rectum, the last part. Okay, this, what is the function? It store the solid feces, solid waste material, semi-solid waste material in this part. The rectum will store the semi-solid waste material, and for shorter period of time before it is passed out through the anus. Now this is the anus. Okay, the last hole, that is known as anus. The feces is excreted through the anus. This is anus. Now let's see the digestive system. See, the first organ, that is mouth, then esophagus, liver, gallbladder, stomach, pancreas, small intestine, large intestine, rectum and anus. So mouth, we chew the food, then bolus will enter into the esophagus, this part entered into the esophagus, then this bolus will come into the stomach. Now food will mix with the stomach, that digestive juices, and entered into the small intestine. Now here in the small intestine, the pancreatic juice will also enter into the small intestine, and the bile juice secreted by the liver stored in the gallbladder will also enter the small intestine. Here the walls of small intestine will absorb all the three nutrients, protein, carbohydrates and fats, and vitamins and minerals will directly absorb through the walls of small intestine because they are soluble in water, right? Now the undigested food will enter into the large intestine, and the semi-solid feces will stored here in the rectum, and it will eventually excreted through the anus. Okay, let's revise, children. Digestion. What do you mean by digestion? Digestion is the process by which food is break down into simpler form so that it can be easily absorbed by the body, right? That is digestion. Digestive system is the organ system which helps in the digestion. Organs. Which organs are associated with the digestive system? They are mouth, esophagus, stomach, small intestine, large intestine, liver, gallbladder, pancreas, rectum and anus. These all are organs associated with the digestive system. Now saliva breaks down the major part of dash in the mouth. Which nutrient breaks down into the simpler form in the mouth? with the help of saliva, that is carbohydrates. Correct. Stomach makes dash juice. Which juice the stomach makes? Digestive juice or gastric juice. Stomach breaks down the major part of dash nutrients. Which nutrients breaks down into the simpler form into the stomach? That is proteins. Most of the proteins breaks down into the simpler form so that it can be digested easily. Pancreatic juice helps in breaking down the remaining dash and dash into simpler form. Pancreas also secrete the juice, right? Digestive juice, that is called as pancreatic juice. It helps to break down the which two nutrients? They are carbohydrates and proteins. Remaining part of carbohydrates and proteins are easily breaks down into the simpler form into the small intestine by pancreatic juice. Digestive juice secreted by liver is stored in the which organ? Gallbladder. The liver helps in the breaking down dash and dash into simpler form. Liver helps in the breaking down of fats and oils into simpler form. And liver secretes bile juice, right? Stored into the gallbladder. Okay, dash and dash are directly absorbed by the walls of small intestine. Vitamins and minerals, these two are directly absorbed because they are soluble in water or fats, right? So they are directly absorbed by the walls of small intestine. Dash is the last part of large intestine, that is rectum. Rectum is the last part of the large intestine. The feces is excreted through the anus, right? It will remove through the anus, children. Thank you. Like, share and subscribe my channel. Learn to grow, not to know.